Hi, I'm Lara, and this is Trilogy, and today I'll be discussing my weird writing tip of lose the battle, win the war. So quite a while ago, I did a video on tension. Links will be everywhere. And in that video, I discussed how an individual scene can build up tension and suspense, creating a greater reader investment. And the scenes I describe, I personally think are really powerful. However, the caveat is, unless your story is one scene, no scene is completely isolated. And for any given scene where you want there to be tension, every preceding scene can either build up the tension for the scene or kill any opportunity for it. As a reader and viewer, I have noticed a trend that kills any opportunity for threats to, feel like a threat to the protagonist. This trend actually inspired a slogan I used in writing that I actually used way back in 2017 on my How to Write a Great Antagonist video, and that slogan is lose the battle, win the war. Also, links to that video will be everywhere. Now, I didn't make up this specific slogan, however, I couldn't find a specific source for it. If I find one, I'll add it to the description, but as of now, I can't find a person who actually coined the term lose the battle, win the war. However, I will add I haven't seen anyone use it the way I have when it comes to fiction writing. The way I've seen it is purposely having your opponent expend so much resources or lose so many people in a battle that even though you lose the battle, their losses cause them to lose the overall war and for you to win the war. Now that is an extremely compelling concept, and I definitely think that could be cool to incorporate into your story. However, mine is talking more about plotting out your story. What I am talking about is thinking of your overall story as a war and individual scene level conflicts as battles. You might need your protagonist to win at the end of the war, but that doesn't mean they need to win every battle. In fact, they probably shouldn't. Obviously, every rule has an exception, but personally, I can't think of one for this. Your protagonist should not come out winning every conflict, especially if that conflict is repeated. So for example, if that conflict is a 1v1 fight between the protagonist and the villain, the protagonist should not easily win the fight at the beginning of the book, because that will prevent tension when they fight again at the end. Also, for a fight to have tension, there needs to be stakes. If you want me as the reader to believe the character is in danger, you have to previously in the story prove to me that you're willing to hurt, kill. In most books, I don't believe the protagonist is in danger. And so if you want me to genuinely believe that, first of all, you can't have Deus Ex Machina save characters previously. And also, you should probably prove that you're willing to hurt or kill characters previously, especially if you really want to convince me the protagonist could die. If you don't want to and just want an intense fight, that's fine. But if you want me to actually think the protagonist can die, you probably need to kill a side character, because if you're not willing to kill side characters, I'm not going to buy the protagonist could die. And you need to preferably kill a character the readers care about, not some unnamed side character or some character who's only in the scene that they die in. I remember while reading Nexus, the sequel to Zenith, rant reviews for that series everywhere. The book tried to trick me into believing that the protagonist's best friend had died. I see the character killed on the page, and even then I didn't really believe it. Now the authors did kill one named side character from the first book, so it could have been real, but by the next chapter the character is clearly revealed to have lived and that it was just a fake out death. For some reason, the antagonist decides she didn't want to kill the protagonist's best friend and just pretended to kill her to get the protagonist to do what she wants, which to me as a reader clearly told me these authors are not willing to kill characters they care about. So at the end of the book, when the protagonist is holding a knife to her throat, going to sacrifice herself to save the galaxy, I don't feel any tension, and I don't buy it because the authors already showed me they're going to cop out when they should kill characters. Now, the protagonist, it's not that she should have been killed at the end or that the author should have killed her. I don't think they should have, but I'm not gonna even feel the tension they want me to when they've had such a blatant cop out before. If anything, it would have been better just not to have a fake out death in the first place, because I never believed the protagonist could die, and that was right. But also, I'm not saying you need to kill a bunch of characters. Like, I really like Disney's Hercules. Disney's Hercules did not need to go around killing people, so I actually believed Hercules or Meg would be dead at the end. It's a kids movie. I am invested because of the characters and wanting to see them together. So it really also depends what you're going for. You don't have to kill characters. I don't have to believe you'll actually kill the protagonist to be invested. It's just if you want to do that, don't do the fake out. But let's get into some good examples, because a good example to me of lose the battle, win the war is the original Star Wars trilogy. Because in each movie, Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader have a direct conflict. In the first movie, A New Hope, Luke watches as Darth Vader kills his mentor Obi-Wan Kenobi right in front of him, and Luke is helpless to save him. He can't even confront Darth Vader. All he can do is shoot the button that closes the doors so that Darth Vader is trapped in another room and he and his friends can escape. Now, Luke does have a scene where he's in a fighter jet and Darth Vader is chasing him, and Luke ends up prevailing and blowing up the Death Star. However, even then, Luke is never just one-on-one fighting Darth Vader. He always has walls and a separation between them. In the second movie, The Empire Strikes Back, Luke and Darth Vader do have a direct 1v1 lightsaber duel. This is after Luke gets a lot of Jedi training from Yoda, and he feels more confident in his abilities, which is why he chooses to directly confront Darth Vader. Still, in their battle, Darth Vader clearly has the upper hand for most of it, using the Force and his lightsaber just techniques to beat Luke back and eventually cut off Luke's hand, then traumatize him with the information that he's Luke's father, and then Luke, desperately trying to survive, does the only thing he can and jumps down a chasm to escape, where he is thankfully saved by his friends. But the point is, Luke doesn't beat Vader. Vader beats Luke, and Luke just survives by the skin of his teeth. By having Luke first just run away from Vader and then confront Vader and lose, this shows a clear progression in Luke's ability to fight Vader, while also never assuring to the audience that Luke could actually beat Darth Vader in a fight. So then by the third movie, when there is the final confrontation between Luke and Darth Vader, we don't know what's going to happen, because despite seeing them fight before, we've never seen Luke win, resulting in there being tons of tension in the fight. If anything, there's more tension in the fight because we've seen Luke lose before. And we already know Darth Vader is not only capable of killing main characters, but willing to, considering he killed Obi-Wan Kenobi in the first movie, and then we also know he's capable of harming Luke because he chopped his hand off. Even though Luke has improved his skills, we still fear he will lose. The tension of the conflict remains because we've never seen it resolved in the way we want. And to give a parallel example of how an extremely similar trilogy fails at this, I'm going to compare it to the sequel trilogy where Rey is the protagonist. And this is why I really don't like how Rey defeats Kylo Ren in the first movie of her trilogy, The Force Awakens. Because since Rey is the protagonist we're rooting for, who is her most amateur in the first movie, and Kylo Ren is the super trained antagonist, by having Rey win, this kills any conflict for their later confrontations, because we've already seen what we want happen. Not only does she defeat Kylo Ren, she defeats him so badly that he needs Deus Ex Machina to survive. Like, he doesn't even escape by his own fruition. Like, the world literally cracks in half between him, and she's like, well, gotta go. I can't reach you anymore. It does not make him a formidable threat. In The Rise of Skywalker, Rey and Kylo Ren fight multiple times, but at no point do I feel tension because I already know she can kick his butt easily. Having her defeat him in the first movie killed any potential tension their later fights could have. They might look cool, but I didn't think there would be any possible outcome besides Rey crushing him. In fact, Rey beat Kylo Ren even more thoroughly than Darth Vader ever defeated Luke. Because Kylo Ren needed Deus Ex Machina to save him. The planet cracked in half, split them apart, so she couldn't reach him anymore. Luke, at least when he had his hand chopped off, chose to escape Darth Vader by jumping down the chasm. Luke always was active in his survival. Kylo Ren wasn't even that. He just got Deus Ex Machina. If anything, Rey is more powerful to Kylo Ren than Darth Vader was to Luke. It kills the tension. However, what if you can't just have your protagonist run away or get the crap beat out of them and barely survive? What if you need your protagonist to win the earlier conflicts while still keeping tension for the later conflicts? I think a great example of this is the Harry Potter series. At the end of 5 of the 7 books, Harry directly confronts Voldemort. And in 3 of these books, Harry wins. And the way Voldemort is able to remain a threat while also having Harry win some of the earlier fights is by the specifics of how Harry confronts Voldemort and wins. In book 1, Voldemort is merely a phantom within Professor Quirrell. So Harry isn't actually fighting the full power of Voldemort, but a weakened Voldemort. That magic sort of protects Harry, giving him the upper hand, so it's really not a fair fight, and it allows Voldemort to still remain a threat in the later book when he gets his full form, and that protection Harry had is gone. In book 2, The Chamber of Secrets, instead of directly fighting Voldemort, Harry fights a basilisk. And while after defeating the basilisk, Harry does technically defeat Voldemort by stabbing the diary, it's again a weakened state of Voldemort that can't fight back besides the basilisk. So this again is Harry defeating the main villain while also not actually having it be a fair fight and a true defeat of the villain. By making both these confrontations indirect, Voldemort is never undermined as a threat. Book 3 doesn't have Voldemort, but then in book 4, Voldemort returns. And not just as a piece of himself, but he comes back as his full empowered form. In the fight that ensues, Harry and Voldemort's spells connect. And when this connection breaks, it creates a distraction that allows Harry to escape through a port key. This is the first direct confrontation between Harry and Voldemort, and Harry doesn't win, he merely survives. And even though Voldemort doesn't technically win, we get the impression he would have, which if anything strengthens his presence as a threat. And this book also is the first one where a main character dies. Peter Pettigrew, a Death Eater, aka one of Voldemort's followers, kills Cedric Diggory, which establishes in this series characters can and will die from now on. In book 5, the main fight isn't between Harry and Voldemort, but between Dumbledore and Voldemort. By having Harry in the background as these two extremely powerful wizards duel, it makes Harry feel small and helpless. Because he is. Harry feels powerless compared to both these characters, and this is specifically relevant to him feeling powerless compared to Voldemort. And after this, there is a direct conflict between Voldemort and Harry, but it involves Voldemort infiltrating Harry's mind, and Harry is able to overcome this. And then the Ministry of Magic returns for work. They all witness that Voldemort is back, and then Voldemort is forced to flee. But the point is, though Harry does defeat Voldemort, this defeat is mental, not physical. This allows Harry to grow as a character and become more prepared for the next conflict, just like training allowed Luke to become more prepared. But this also doesn't undermine Voldemort as a physical threat. This book also has Bellatrix Lestrange, a Death Eater, kill Sirius Black, further exemplifying that characters can die and that the villains are a genuine threat to people's lives. In fact, Book 6 increases Voldemort as a threat without even having him directly fight someone on the page, and it does this by having Snape kill Dumbledore, the only wizard who is a match for Voldemort, making Voldemort's power stand on its own. The one character who could fight him in the previous book is gone.
Avada Kedavra.
Harry's on his own by himself. He can't have Dumbledore come to save him. And this is important in that if there is a character who is genuinely a threat to the villain, who isn't supposed to be saving the protagonist in the final conflict, which preferably the protagonist won't be saved in the final conflict, you should get rid of them so the protagonist doesn't have an easy out. You don't have to kill them, you could find a way to prevent them from intervening, but having them killed makes it even more terrifying. Also, on a side note, Snape is a dick, and the reason he killed Dumbledore is fine, but the fact he bullied children is not. And people are like, oh my gosh, Snape is so great, but really he's just a petty jerk. And he's a good example, though, of a morally gray protagonist who's actually just a bad person who does the right thing for the wrong reasons, which is a fine character, but a lot of people really like him, and I don't like their interpretation of him. Not necessarily that I don't like the character as a fictional person. Like, I don't like him as a real person, but you know what I mean. Snape is obnoxious. Hey, don't look at me. I was just saying the truth. It's not my fault you bully children. So after 6 books and all these confrontations, in book 7, when Harry and Voldemort finally fight, the tension remains. These books were able to give Harry Potter and Voldemort 5 direct conflicts where both of them win, and Harry even wins some of them. And the series achieved this by being creative with how every confrontation went down so that Harry never came out looking more powerful than Voldemort. Each time Harry survived was a struggle, and Harry never previously won a 1v1 duel between him and Voldemort, because that's how the series needed to end. And if Harry was capable of defeating Voldemort in a 1v1 physical duel earlier in the book series when he was less skilled, there would be no doubt in the reader's minds he could do it after improving. Hence my philosophy, lose the battle, win the war. So that's all I have to say on this topic. I hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know your thoughts down below. Do you think it's a good philosophy? Do you disagree with it? Did you think of some examples where it doesn't work? I guess now that I think about it, maybe some Disney movies, the heroes end up very successful in most fights, like Hercules never actually loses a fight. So that would be an example, but he also doesn't directly confront Hades leading up to the finale. So I can't think of one where the hero defeats the same villain at the beginning and then also at the end, and it's done well. So if you think of one, let me know down below. In fact, let me know all your thoughts down below. Even if you think I'm completely wrong, I'd love to have a discussion with you. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you